Hey guys, I'm Angela and welcome back to Hobby Night. This week in Warhammer news, we got a ton of new revealed miniatures, including some Lumineth Realm-Lords, the entire reveal of Cursed City, and the First Daemon Prince is back, baby.
I was their first son, the Prince of Demons.
I'm going to go ahead and begin with the last thing that Games Workshop previewed on their live stream on Saturday, and that is Bellacor, the Demon Prince. I am so hyped for this mini because it means we might actually be getting a new full kit for Demon Princes. We have been using the same Demon Prince kit for ever. There hasn't been, I think, like a Bellacor miniature in forever. I don't know if he has had rules in additions. So I'm so hyped for him. He looks amazing. The reveals that they showed of us, like all of the chains, all of the skulls, all his wings, like his sword, he's purple. He's so cool looking. I can't wait to find out when he's coming out. But I hope that it is a multi-part kit. I hope it's not just a kit for him, like they like to do for some of their bigger named characters and everything. Because they specifically did not name him in the trailer that they showed us, they just called him the First Daemon Prince. My hope is that that means that this is going to be a multi-part kit and we'll actually be able to get other options. Like, he will be a build out of it, but he won't be the only build out of it. So please, GW, let us have a new Demon Prince kit. Regardless, I'm getting that bad boy because he looks amazing and I must paint him. I just wanted to give a quick PSA because I work in a game store, and if you guys haven't realized, Games Workshop shipments in the US might be a little bit delayed this week and potentially for another week because of the polar vortex stuff that's happening in the middle of the country. Things are delayed. I was going to be painting Sigvald this week. That's not happening now because he hasn't arrived. But when he does, don't worry. There will definitely be a painting video for Sigvald. But just keep that in mind as you might be going to your friendly local game stores to pick up some cool new miniatures. They may not be there quite yet. Just wait a little bit longer until, you know, the ice goes away.
Lyrio Uthra, Warden of Headkrakka, by your shining lance do we part the sea of darkness.
First up that they announced in the actual preview was the second wave for the Lumineth Realm-Lords, which looks really cool. I have mixed feelings about it. There are some miniatures that I think are awesome. The very first guy that they showed, which looks very similar to the kit we saw a couple weeks ago that they had previewed on the community site, that one looks rad. I think it's probably the one I'm most excited about. He's a named character, but he's a kit within that other kit, so you can have options, which is kind of what I want for Bellacor. Let's get that. But going back to the Lumineth Realm-Lords, I also am really excited to see what looks like some old world style things coming back into the game because we have our bolt thrower now, which I'm super hyped for. I love all artillery pieces in fantasy. I love them in Total War Warhammer. And I used to use the bolt thrower a lot when I played High Elves. I'm very happy to see it back. I'm also excited to see those guys that kind of look like they're basically
Swordmasters of Hoeth.
Yes, Swordmasters of Hoeth. I couldn't remember the Hoeth part. But yeah, they look really rad too. I like the sort of toned down antler ornamentation on them as well. It's not full on horns. It's just like metal bits that have some horn elements to them, but it's not outright. I like that. Let's keep going for that. And then there are some miniatures in there that I have some questions about, because like the one chick who's standing on top of her brother, what? Like, it just, I don't know, it looks weird to me. I don't know if I like it yet. I need to like see the box or see it in person or something. I don't know. It just looks very strange. I am digging the very Goku-esque flying on Nimbus character that is, I think, tied to the tornado guy that we saw previously. And I really love the horns that they're doing for them. When they actually do that style of horn, I'm okay with it. So I honestly, the reveals were pretty cool. There was a lot. They are giving us basically a whole relaunch, I feel like, of the High Elf faction, essentially, in this Lumineth Realm-Lords. As a whole, I really actually do like the overall aesthetic that it has built up to. That terrain piece especially is a nice addition. I don't care about like, if there's nothing else that I get, I just want that to have a new cool terrain piece on a board that is super high fantasy looking and it's gorgeous. So like all of it is really cool. I don't know how I feel about like the rules or anything or about some of the individual characters, but like as a whole, I think it has grown on me a little bit, at least to be like, yeah, I don't mind seeing it. It's really cool that they're coming out with new designs and they do seem to be varying up what they're doing with the aesthetics really nicely now. So I'm all for it. Oh, hey, didn't see you guys there. Well, while you're here, don't forget to like, subscribe, and share the video.
None shall question his faith. None shall stay his wrath.
Gardus Steal Soul, the Lord of Steel. Souls. I didn't like this at all, actually. So let me give some context because I have really weird reasons for why I dislike this miniature. I am so tired of the superhero I have just landed pose, especially in still media. I studied comic books in school. I have drawn that literal pose. And I've seen it dozens and dozens of times, and I find that it works really well when you get to see it in motion because in my experience, the whole like cool part of that pose is I've landed, the character's head is down and then they slowly look up at you while the camera like looks at their face and it's all like serious. Well, you don't get this with that. You just get him immediately looking up at you, but still being in that pose. And I'm just like, I just don't like it. Let me know what you guys think in the comments. Headkrakka's Madmob is here, and I think these minis are pretty cool, although I wish they would stop just having images of them front on, because the one guy with like the sort of George of the Jungle like cloth over top of him with the axe that you can't actually tell is an axe from front on looks way cooler than like the video actually made it seem like until like the very end when they did like a turnaround of them. Because honestly, at first, my feelings on this particular set were like, they're kind of dull, honestly. They're all like front on, the poses are sort of eh. But we've now seen, I think, the two cooler of the miniatures, in my personal opinion. We've seen the Archer guy, which I really, really like. This is a Savage Orc group, but his pose and everything, he has like a little bit of regality to him. Like he has like a smidge of training or something, and I really love the juxtaposition of that. Spot on, GW, really nice. And that shaman's mask, I love it. It's so cute. I love everything about him. He is my favorite miniature out of them, like him and the Archer, definitely the two that I am most interested in painting. If this is one of those sets, and I've said this a lot about the not the Direchasm, but the Underworlds sets in past videos and everything, but I really like them for just jumping in and being able to have a project to suddenly be able to like, I just want to paint something. And this one, the one for the orcs, if you have a kid who really is wanting to get into miniature painting, is really big into orcs or something like that, I think this kit would be perfect for them. If they just want, they're like, it's simple, like they look like they're pretty easy to paint. There's a lot of really nice big flat surfaces that you can play with. The Underworlds kits are always easy to build, so it's going to be push to fit and it's going to be very few pieces, so it's great for learning how to build miniatures as well. And you don't necessarily have to deal with the glue. Like honestly, it's a really good set. I'm very excited for it. Next up, they talked about two new figures for the Death faction. We have our Wight King, who freaking looks amazing. I want a whole bunch of them. I want an entire list that is just skeleton boys on skeleton horses that look that badass, because Oh, he's just so beautiful. So one of my favorite things for armor is it being hyper layered with like cloth, leather, chainmail, plate mail, scale mail, whatever, like any combinations of those various leathers, like just onto each other. I love it. And that's what he's doing. And it's great. And it's just so good. But we didn't just get that reveal. We also got one for the Night Haunts, and it's the Krulghast Cruciator? I don't know. They have weird names for these guys sometimes, but basically...
Krulghast Cruciator.
Excellent, yes. And he looks also really cool, and like he's gonna fit right in with Curse City. I know he's not for that, but holy cow, like I love the torture rack on his back. And I love the wisps of the spiritual energy coming off of him, like on his hands and everything. Like I love death minis. They just look so cool. They're so ethereal. They fit the aesthetic that I absolutely love. Oh, I'm just so pleased with these new death minis. But let's now talk about Curse City. Curse City, okay. So I legitimately thought that we were going to get like a single mini once a week for like 13 weeks. And then on the preview on Saturday, they were just like, screw it, we're gonna show everything. And I was like, hell yes, please give it to me now. So let's go ahead and talk about all of the amazing things in there. Okay. I don't even know where to begin. There's so much. I'm gonna start actually with the hero characters. There were a bunch of really cool hero characters. We've seen a couple of them already so far. We had our witch hunter, we had our elf archer, and we had one other one now that I can't remember which one it was.
Inquisitor.
Yes, the Inquisitor. So we've had that. We've now had an ogre, which looks really cool. We have had 2 caster characters, which also are very cool. I like the guy a little bit more than I like the chick. His something about his face is really cool. I love the way the beard goes down. I think, are going to be really cool conversions for other things. Potentially, like the woman, I feel like could easily be like a sister superior for Sisters of Battle, with like the rod, because I think she has one. You just need to like give her like a plasma pistol or something. The guy, I think, could work for an ecclesiarchy. He could work for a chaos sorcerer, honestly. Like, he's a good guy, yes, but he still kind of has a little bit of an evil necromancer vibe. Plus, he can probably just be used in D&D and stuff, or any other fantasy or grimdark setting. Really, all of these miniatures can, and that's what's so great about them. So we've got those 2. We got the ogre. We got our rogue. Well, he's not a rogue trader, but he basically is the equivalent of the rogue trader from Blackstone Fortress, except that he is, I'm assuming, like a swashbuckler rogue type. Just for this game and everything, he looks really cool. I absolutely love his armor with like that fur trim and then the plate and everything there. Super good. Okay, now I want to talk about one of the miniatures that I'm actually the most excited for, even though on like a thematic, grim, dark, gothic fantasy level, she's not my favorite of the designs, but as a person who just wants a greater breadth of women representation in gaming and miniatures, the female character with the sword and the plate mail and the freaking griffin on her shoulder, I love her. She is great. I was hoping for a Reiksguard Knight. I don't care that I didn't get that. She totally works for me. I love the griffin. I love her stance. It's a generic stance. It's kind of like fairly traditional. Honestly, I actually think one of the sets last year that came out for the Custodes and the Silent Sister, like, it's a very similar pose to that. I don't care that they're reusing it because they do that often enough anyways. I just love her almost World of Warcraft vibe, but it's toned down just enough that it still feels like it's fitting within the Age of Sigmar and this Curse City vibe that they have going for it, but she stands out against all of the other characters there in a good way, and I think she's so cool. She really reminds me of Brienne of Tarth as well, which I'm totally down for because I loved that character and I love the actress that portrayed her. So I am totally down for that character. I think it has been awesome. I believe I am missing some hero characters, but I can't remember which ones now. So I'm going to briefly move on to some of the villain characters because, oh boy, there are so many good undead things. So we talked a little bit earlier about the 2 new reveals for the Death faction for Age of Sigmar. They're gonna fit right in with the Curse City stuff. In fact, Curse City will come with all of the Age of Sigmar rule sets and everything for all those miniatures so that you can then use them in that game. So that's pretty awesome. I love that. But let's talk about those villain characters. Specifically, I'm gonna start with the zombies because, I mean, I'm a Death Guard player. I love zombies. I especially love these ones because the added touch of the gravestone being a literal like steel, or not steel, but probably iron spike through their hearts in an attempt to keep them down. And then they just rise up anyways and come for you. It was a nice touch. I absolutely love them. I love how ornate they are. It's just this mess of stuff on there, and I can't wait to paint them because if you look at the color scheme that they did in the reveal, like it's a lot more brighter colors and everything, which is kind of what I already do with my zombies. So I'm really hoping I might be able to just use these in my Death Guard army in the future. So I'm really excited for them. Then we got the ogre like undead guys whom I love. Their mouths make me so happy because their teeth are just so like hanging in there, and it's kind of gross, but I love it. I love the aesthetic design that they're going for them and everything like that with all the heavy furs and all that. Oh, okay, they're really cool. Then we start getting into the actual vampires. And there's also some skelly boys, actually. The skeletons are really cool. We've kind of looked at them already. They basically go with that captain character that we revealed a couple weeks ago. Blends super nicely. Again, it looks like they're gonna go great with that Underworlds kit. The vampires. So we got some vampire spawn, essentially. And I think they're really cool. They're basically feral vampires that are kind of losing control, it seems like, and they're starting to transform and go a little bit more like animalistic. So you look at their feet and they've got kind of like these wolf feet mixed with like maybe bat and everything. I don't know, it's really cool. I love the energy and motion that they captured with those sculpts of like them hanging off of the pillars and everything, which I wanted to call out is kind of also a little bit of a superhero move, like Spider-Man does that kind of stuff a lot. But unlike say that Age of Sigmar, the Sigmarine miniature, I don't know, this just works better for me. It just, the flow, the energy, that motion is still all there with them where I lose it with him. So just wanted to call that out there because I thought it was a nice little tie-in. We got them. And then we got the big fully transformed Vargeist. That's not actually what he's called. I think it's like a Ghoulgeist, or they changed the name a little bit. But it's essentially a Vargeist from Old World. And he's freaking badass looking. And I assume that if those other feral vampires were to continue to like go, you know, bonkers or whatever, that's what they would turn into. Because that's kind of the impression that they gave us. So he's really cool. And then we got a look at the guy that we actually had revealed earlier this week on Warhammer community site, which is the guy with all the stuff on his back, and he's got, I think he's not a tallyman specifically, but that's kind of what he's reminding me of a little bit. And then there's your main guy, your big, bad wolf boy. And he looks really cool. I love the dual wolf pelt on him. I like this idea that he's this vampire that just goes after werewolves, or just like big wolves for the fun of it, because there's always that, you know, unspoken like werewolves versus vampires fight that happens. And so it's just like he took a bunch of them, was like, screw this, murdered them, and then now wears them as his pelts or as his shoulders because he's a badass and sits on his throne and just rules over the city in terror. It's gonna be so good. Not only did we get a look at all of the miniatures, but we actually got a look at a lot of the other components that are coming in. Because like I said, it was a full reveal, which I'm really hopeful that this means that we're going to get the game, like it's going to come out hopefully either, I don't think it's going to be the end of first quarter. I'm hopeful it'll be at the end of the first quarter, but I don't actually think that's going to happen. So I'm hoping in like maybe late April, early May, like that would be awesome. Because I was expecting, honestly, a season, like a holiday release for this, because I was assuming that they were going to just be showing stuff to us piecemeal and sort of a little bit more slowly. I wasn't expecting to get everything. And then we got everything. So now I really hope we get it very, very soon because I really want to play this game. I love the look of the tiles. I love the look of the objective markers. I like it looks different from what Blackstone Fortress did. And it just makes me, which I literally liked Blackstone Fortress, but I'm excited to try something new. I'm excited for this theming, and I'm really hyped for whatever will come for future expansions, because from what we've seen so far of the miniatures we've gotten in this set, it's gonna just continue to be some really awesome grimdark gothic vampire stuff. And I need all of that in my life all of the time. All right, well, that has been this week in Warhammer news. There was a ton of stuff, so let me know what your favorite reveals of this weekend were down in the comments below. Make sure to like the video if you enjoyed it, or hit that dislike button if you didn't. I don't care which, just hit that button. And make sure to subscribe if you haven't already, and I will see you guys on Monday for a very special video because, like I said, we're not going to be painting Sigvald because there's a delay and he hasn't arrived yet. So I've got something special planned, and I'll see you then.